Social media plays a big role in college students' lives, but could your post be hurting your chance at landing a job?
And Carolina Week takes you to the other side of the globe for a story about different ethnic groups coming together to celebrate what they have in common.
All of this and more, Carolina Week
starts right now.
From the UNC School of Media and Journalism, covering Carolina in HD, this is Carolina Week.
It's November, and for local residents, this means it's almost time to hit the polls. Good evening, I'm Tiara Marsh.
And I'm Bailey Ingalls. We begin tonight with more on Election Day. Voters in Orange County get to make some leadership decisions next Tuesday as candidates for key positions are on the ballot. Reporter Donnie Holloway joins us live from the Holy Trinity Lutheran Church in Chapel Hill with more on this story. Donnie?
Bailey, if you registered to vote last year in Chapel Hill so that you could choose between Clinton and Trump for president, it's likely that you're ready to cast your vote in Tuesday's election. Whoever is elected could have a big impact on UNC students. When you take a look at some of the candidates, they have authority over a wide range of issues, including zoning and transit, both of which are very important issues for UNC students. They also have the ability to take a stance on social issues such as the removal of Silent Sam in cases where the university can't. Let's take a look at some of the races on the ballot. Voters will choose their candidates for Chapel Hill Mayor and Town Council, Carborough Mayor and Board of Aldermen, and the Chapel Hill Carborough School Board. Unfortunately, the voter registration deadline has passed and you can't register to vote on the same day as Election Day. But if you've already registered to vote, you should definitely check with the Orange County Board of Elections in order to determine your particular polling location. Voting begins on Tuesday at 6:30 a.m. and continues until 7:30 p.m. Bailey?
That's Donnie Holloway live from Holy Trinity Lutheran Church. Thanks, Donnie.
Who you can vote for during an election depends on what district you live in, but there's been lots of controversy in our state about whether the election districts are drawn up fairly. Reporter Lydia Davis joins us live in the studio to talk about the issue and what's being done about it. Lydia?
Tiara, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled back in July that NC legislative maps were racially gerrymandered, meaning they concentrated black voters into certain districts. Here's the map from 2011 that caused the debate. The court found that 28 of the legislative districts to be unconstitutional racial gerrymanders. North Carolina had until September 1st to draw up new maps. And here's the redrawn map released by the North Carolina General Assembly and sent to the Supreme Court for approval. The new criteria set to fix the racial gerrymandering included more compact districts with more equal populations. But after being sent for approval, the judges said some legislative districts on the map need more revision. And a gerrymandering case from Wisconsin has the Supreme Court debating the issue once again. We asked UNC Chapel Hill law professor Bill Marshall to weigh in. He says that although gerrymandering is technically constitutional, it could violate voters' rights.
The question raised by these cases is, does it come to a point where it's become so partisan that you're either violating people's rights of equal protection or you're violating people's First Amendment rights, because essentially many voters are not going to be able to affect the result in their district because it's been so perfectly gerrymandered.
The court is expected to decide on whether to set restrictions on partisan gerrymandering by June 2018. Marshall says this decision could set a precedent for the rest of the United States and change the way maps are drawn in the future. Tiara?
Lydia Davis live in the studio. Thanks, Lydia.
It's one of the biggest parties of the year. More than 15,000 people celebrated Halloween on Franklin Street last night. Although the crowd seemed massive, it was actually smaller than usual. At its peak in 2015, more than 40,000 people jammed Franklin Street. The town has been trying to reduce the crowd size for safety reasons. So far, there's been no word of any injuries or arrests at last night's celebration.
If you celebrated Halloween on Franklin Street last night, you probably posted pictures on social media. But did you know that posts you make in college could have an impact on getting a job after graduation? I found out more about the link between your life online and your employment chances. Imagine hearing these words.
So either you need to stop doing this or you can't work for us.
But the decision wasn't hard for UNC senior and activist Morgan Howard.
So I said, well, I'm not going to work for you.
More commonly known as Hot Beans Morgan, Howard is constantly on social media. It's at the touch of your thumb, in the palm of your hand, a favorite for our president, and now critical in your job search. And assistant advertising professor Gary Kay says social media isn't just an aspect, but the aspect.
I mean, it's everything.
And a 2017 Career Builder survey states that 70% of employers use social media to screen candidates before hiring, with over a third reprimanding or firing their employees for content. One of those people was Morgan Howard.
So we are very proud of the passion that you have, and we totally support you politically and like in your activism, but you are working for the Daily Tar Heel.
Unwilling to give up using her social media to talk about social justice, Howard left the organization. And at a time when police brutality was a pressing issue, she was an activist that couldn't stay silent. It is our duty to win. Director of Career Services Gary Miller says in situations like this, there is a fine line between authenticity and employment.
When people are doing things that an employer may or may not find appealing, and sometimes that might still be authentic and true to who they are, protests are a good example of this.
But it's more than just politics.
Number one, they want to see that you have a personality, so they don't want to see a private profile for all your social media because that means that you're either paranoid or you're hiding something.
Now, although employers are watching your social media, they are also getting insight to who you are. Simply put, Kay says it can be a blessing and a curse.
But social media can help you get a job, but it also can ruin your reputation really rapidly.
For Howard, it was a curse for the Daily Tar Heel, but the light in finalizing her own brand. So who is Hot Beans Morgan?
I am Hot Beans Morgan. Hot Beans Morgan is me. I truly will go from like talking about One Direction or like how cute an actor is, and then like in the same breath be talking about like how a social justice issue is affecting me.
And despite previous employer checklists, Miller says that today employers now use social media platforms to recruit rather than exclude, something Howard has experienced.
They were actually the most interested in the work that I was writing about social justice.
And as Howard continues using her account to share her voice and passion, she finds comfort in knowing that what employers are looking for on your social media is shifting. A survey of employers showed more than half decided not to hire a candidate based on that person's social media posts. The number one turnoff, provocative and inappropriate photos.
Social media sites like Facebook and Instagram require you to be at least 13 years old to set up an account. And although most children don't use social media, research shows they're still getting plenty of screen time. Reporter Hannah Lee looked into this trend and the effect it can have on kids.
Meet 6-year-old Taylor from Apex, North Carolina.
You're supposed to hit all of the red ones.
She loves to play on her dad's phone, and she's not alone. According to a new study, kids have tripled their time on mobile devices in the past 4 years.
And it's funny because like when we were pregnant with her, and she's got a younger brother too, we were the parents that said, we're not going to let our kids watch the phone, no tablet, no nothing. Like, how dare you? That's just terrible parenting. And then, like, of course, we have 2 tablets and a phone.
But the devices are likely to cause negative health effects like obesity.
Some of that is probably due to just being sedentary and looking at the screen and not exercising, not burning calories. Some of it might be due, though, to what's on the media, what you're seeing, what are commercials convincing you to do.
But Alan says he mainly lets his kids use tablets for road trips.
When we first tried going that far without tablets or the phone, it's not peaceful, it's stressful, it's incredibly I don't know how we did it as kids. I mean, like, you know, without them.
Does that mean Taylor is also getting a phone?
Absolutely not. No.
Only when I'm 25.
When you're 25, I'll get you a phone.
No, when I'm 31.
Perfect. When you're 31, I'll get you a phone.
No, when I'm 61.
Even better.
Alan says he will continue to let Taylor and his son use devices, but monitor the time they spend on them. In Chapel Hill, I'm Hannah Lee reporting.
It gets harder and harder.
For parents who are worried about how much screen time their kids are getting, there are already timers built in on iPhones and iPads that will turn off devices after a set period of time. When Carolina Week returns,
Students have come together to send a crossing guard cross country.
I adopted Bento in 2010 from a shelter. As it turns out, we have very similar personalities. And this cat makes me make art because he's always motivating me to take pictures of him, to draw pictures of him. He just is motivating artistically. It's just that simple. Well, he's my best friend, but a lot of people know him as Keyboard Cat.
It's me, Artie. Come see what I collected from the creative galaxy in my idea box.
Transform your world.
Will you help me make art?
Each one of our journeys keeps us young. Before you throw it away,
Hey, I have an idea.
think outside the box.
We'll never get older. Each one Go be amazing!
Give your cardboard box another life. Recycle.
Here's to the things that can keep us safe. And now, those that we carry with us everywhere will bring us wireless emergency alerts. With the unique sound and vibration, you'll be in the know, wherever you are.
Morning, Gary. We are GetSchooled.com. You want a college education, don't you? Gary, financial aid forms. Biology homework, G. Picking a college, man. You and us go together like tacos and Tuesday. And I love tacos.
Fancy pants peanut butter? A big screen television? You haven't even bought a sofa yet. A motorcycle? When your father finds out, he's gonna flip his shoes with 2 buckles? What do you even need 2 buckles for? Mr. Big Shot, buying whiskey shots for everybody in the bar. From the looks of it, I'd say nobody even remembers. Feed the pig.
The season of giving has officially started, but the Carolina community had a jump start this year.
Our Lex Juarez looked into how Tar Heels have been giving back to someone who helps make campus a little bit safer every day.
If you've ever walked across this intersection at a busy time during the day, chances are there was a traffic control officer there to make sure you got across safely.
One of these officers is Joanne Isom. She works every day at the intersection of South Road and Stadium Drive to make sure students make it across the road safely. And now, the Carolina community is saying thank you to her in a big way. Over 870 people have raised over $7,000 for Isom in the past 7 days. Also, she can travel to Arizona to see her son.
Now, this all started from a blog post on the Humans of UNC Facebook page that inspired someone to start a GoFundMe. Isom has become aware of the GoFundMe, and the money will be presented to her this Friday.
The students who started the GoFundMe page say Isom's story has been getting so much attention from news media, they've stopped taking interview requests.
If you were walking across the campus on Thursday, you may have seen an anti-abortion demonstration on the quad. Red flags and sashes were spotted throughout Polk Place protesting abortion practices and Planned Parenthood. The group is called the American Society for Defense of Tradition, Family and Property, or TFP, a Pennsylvania-based Catholic group with over 250,000 members. People gathered by the demonstrations with signs like this, but the protests and counter-protests remained peaceful. Chapel Hill was just one stop on TFP's one-week campaign in North Carolina.
More than 5 million Americans are living with Alzheimer's or another form of dementia. Reporter Alyssa Tu had the chance to speak with a UNC professor about his groundbreaking medical research.
In North Carolina, over 200,000 individuals suffer from this 6th leading cause of death. That means 1 in 3 will die with Alzheimer's. UNC's Dr. Todd Cohen, assistant professor of neurology, is leading the charge to find the cure.
The overarching goal of our work is to try to understand what drives the pathologies that form in patients' brains that have this disease. And the idea is that if we can understand what makes these pathologies form in our brains, then we can learn how to stop those processes from essentially killing our brain cells.
And the goal of Dr. Cohen's research?
Our number one goal is to understand why these proteins evolve in a person's brain, in yours or my brain, and then try to pause it or stop it, and then understand why we did that, and then tinker with it to try to get it to go backwards. And if we can do that, the idea is that we're going to save those neurons from dying that would otherwise die in an Alzheimer's patient.
Dr. Cohen and his team have already affirmed one vital development.
We found this chemical tag that is associated with the tangles in our brains, and then we looked for whether it was present in Alzheimer's patients, and it was present in every single Alzheimer's patient, but never a normal patient. So it was literally almost 100%. So that was very surprising and very exciting, because it means that we found a pathological marker of the disease in a post-mortem individual.
This research will lead to a way to prevent it, cure it, or slow it down. Reporting for Carolina Week in Chapel Hill, I'm Elissa Tew.
Cohen and his team are now working on creating a mouse model to confirm their findings so far.
When Carolina Week returns,
to be or not to be, meteorologist Alex Kement will decipher the confusing fall weather.
Well, Thomas, you've got pre-diabetes. But with more exercise and a change in diet, it can be reversed.
I've tried exercising. It just makes me hungry for bacon.
I love bacon, too. And who really likes to exercise?
Not me.
Me neither.
Nobody. So we're good?
What? Oh, you still have pre-diabetes. Big time.
Connor is struggling in school.
Finding lowest airfare to Istanbul.
Why don't you understand me?
I do. This is what it feels like for kids with learning and attention issues. Redirecting to understood.org.
As a parent, I think it's tragic that 1 in 5 children struggles with hunger right here in America. But there is hope. Visit feedingamerica.org to help. Together we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
Look at you. You're at the top of your game. You're unstoppable. Nothing can throw you off track. Wait, is that your car? Uh-oh. Yeah, I saw that coming. That will throw you off track. You're looking at around 10 grand in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Let's try this again. Smart move. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Did you know parking over tall, dry grass can spark a wildfire?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
When they test you, stand firm and move only when you hear the seatbelt click that says they're buckled in for the drive. Never give up till they buckle.
Thanks for staying with us and welcome back. I'm your meteorologist, Alex Kement, with your weather. Next chance for rain is way off in the future. There's a small chance over the next week, but highly unlikely, and an early November warm-up, so leading to some possibly great weekend temperatures ahead. Take a look. You can see that our surface map right here, our main driver of our weather is this high pressure over the southeast, and this is what's driving our weather over the next day or two. And the high pressure is associated with descending air, which cools and dries out the air, so it makes the rain disappear. And our future cast is agreeing with that very much. There's showers coming up from the south, but most of them evaporate before they get to our area, and this is going to be the trend over the next several days as that system moves to the north and passes over top of us. Today, a high of 73 with sunny skies and passing clouds. Winds light and variable. Tonight we'll drop about 20 degrees into the low 50s. We're going to keep those partly cloudy skies and light winds. And the same story pretty much for tomorrow. High pressure still in control of our area right now, and this boundary of cold air is going to lift to the north and pass over us, and the high pressure behind that is what's going to drive our weather during next week into the weekend. Tomorrow on your way out the door, a bit chilly with 55 at 8 a.m. We'll warm up quickly, almost 15 degrees by noon, so you may want to bring a jacket, but something light that you can lose quickly, and then 73 for your commute home around 5 p.m. Don't forget, this weekend is daylight savings time, so if you're out and about, it will be chilly at 2 a.m. You get an extra hour to do whatever it is that you're doing at 2 o'clock in the morning on Sunday. So just don't forget to set those clocks and enjoy your extra hour of sleep or extra hour out and about. And then for your weekend getaway, this is Wrightsville Beach, a great weekend at that. 74 for Saturday with a low in the high 50s, near 60, and 77 on Sunday, and much of the same for us as we go into next week. 70s across the board, flirting with 80 on Friday with lows in the 50s. I apologize about Sunday, that's supposed to read 75. And so yeah, a great week on tap for sure.
I will say I definitely didn't know that this was the weekend to fall back an hour, but I'm not mad about the extra hour of sleep.
To be honest with you, I didn't know about it until I looked to find out what to talk about.
Well, then
Definitely
I guess
excited.
I'm also wondering, with the weather cooling down, I think it's safe to ask something that everyone wants to know. When will it be UGG season? Because I'm ready to whip out the boots.
Unfortunately, I don't have an UGG forecast whipped up for you, and that's too far in the future for me to tell you exactly, but a little bit of a warming trend right now, and we'll cool down soon, though. I just can't say exactly when.
Okay, fingers crossed. Thank you so much, Alex.
Absolutely.
When Carolina Week returns,
the preseason basketball game rankings are out, and Carolina fans will not like who's on top.
Everybody.
Light check. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Everything looks good on our end.
And lights.
Come alive with the forest. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
Up to 40% of businesses never recover after experiencing a major disaster. Make a plan at Ready.gov/business.
I was 0.5 credits away from completing high school, and I didn't do it. My support team never stopped pushing for me to be better because they knew who I could become as a person. I've been given an opportunity, and I'm just thankful for it.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Hello there, and welcome to Carolina Week Sports. I'm Paul Beam. The AP preseason poll for college basketball is out, and 5 ACC teams are in the top 25. Louisville checks in at 16, Notre Dame at 14, Miami at 13, UNC at 9, and for the second year in a row, the Duke Blue Devils top the AP preseason poll. After racking up the #1 recruiting class for 2017, the Blue Devils are expected to make a deep run into March. But just remember, Duke, it's not about how you start. It's all about how you finish. Excuse me. There we go, right there. The women's basketball team will get their first game action tonight. But can the lone senior on a young squad handle the pressure of high expectations for 2018? Sarah Willey has more.
Jamie Cherry is the point guard of the women's basketball team. This means Cherry is already in a leadership role. But this year, head coach Sylvia Hatchell is leaning on her leadership for another reason.
Me as our only senior, so I'm putting a lot of, I don't want to say pressure, but more so responsibility.
This responsibility comes in the form of senior leadership, something Cherry does more by what she does than by what she says.
She doesn't talk a lot out there, but she'll say what needs to be said, but it's more of by her actions.
The team is young this season, as it has been the past 2 seasons. Junior guard Stephanie Watts says Cherry's leadership has been a big part of keeping those young players organized on the court.
It kind of sets up the team, makes sure everyone knows where they are, and being our only senior, she really just runs the team really well.
Cherry knows those young players are looking up to her, and running the team this year might mean she has to be more vocal.
I would say being a more vocal leader, I've definitely developed over my 4 years. Just taking more initiative.
That's a lot of pressure, but Cherry is just enjoying the ride.
I mean, it's definitely been a roller coaster. I mean, I've definitely had some highs and some lows, but overall it's been great. And I'm looking forward to going out with a bang.
Cherry should be used to going out with a bang. Fans know her for her cherry bombs. I'm Sarah Willie reporting.
If you want to catch Cherry and the rest of the team in action tonight, the Heels tip off with Wingate in an exhibition match at 6 in Carmichael Arena. The basketball season is about to get started while the women's soccer season is coming to a close. The Heels will square off with NC State Wolfpack in the ACC tournament semifinal on Friday in Charleston, South Carolina. And the Heels will have their work cut out for them defensively. The player to watch out for is State's Tiziera King. The sophomore midfielder is electric offensively. She scored 14 goals this season, 10 more than any other player on State's roster. King has a clinical first touch, you'll see it right there, and has the ability to embarrass defenders with an array of skill moves on the ball. Oh, and she isn't afraid to rip one from deep either with precision and accuracy. King is a problem that Carolina will need to game plan for. While the women hope to be playing in the ACC title game on Sunday at 1 in Charleston, the men's team will begin their quest for an ACC title at the same time in Cary, against the winner of the 7 and 10 seed matchup tonight between Notre Dame and Pittsburgh.
Up next, we're headed off. Thank you, Paul. Up next, we are headed on an adventure
to Thailand for a festival all about food. Stay with us.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
It's a short ride from your neighborhood to your naturehood. To find a neighborhood park or green space near you, visit discovertheforest.org.
Hundreds of UNC students travel to Thailand each year to study abroad, work at our environmental research and institutes.
It's a student favorite for its pristine beaches and elephants, but their vegetarian festival in Phuket draws crowds for a very different reason. Reporter Anne-Marie Haggerty has the story.
For a vegetarian festival, it's a bloody affair. Religious men called masangs cut, pierce, and axe their bodies to show faith in the gods and deference for animals. But this festival is about something much bigger than even those.
It is so meaningful, so when we walk, I will tell you what it is.
Meet Prani Sakal, born and raised here, taught at the university, authored multiple books on the cultural history of the city.
What I think the most interesting part of vegetarian festival is giving. The rich give to the poor, and the poor, they still donate. They don't have money, they donate their energy.
Energy to prepare 3 meals a day for 9 days for anyone in the city to come and eat.
This is the place where they offer free food for everybody.
The venue, Buddhist shrines. The point is religion, but not just Buddhism. Moody Paul is a Christian Phuket native.
We're a Muslim, Chinese, Buddhist, very peaceful, no problem at all.
The festival starts when patrons come here, buy a piece of gold on the pole to pray to the gods or just wish for good luck.
Pole is go up, that means we officially start vegetarian festival.
A start to bring people together.
Yes, we migrated from different motherlands.
We decide to choose Phuket as our home and live together in harmony.
The same place to live, the same place to sleep at night, the same place to eat from the same pot.
A pot full of vegetables, all different types, cooked together to feed the city. And a community of people, all different types, coming together to build the culture of the city. In Phuket, Thailand, Anne-Marie Haggerty reporting.
Talking about food in the season of giving has me thinking about Thanksgiving.
Oh, for sure. Halloween's over. Thinking on to the next holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, giving season, and food season. That does it for this edition of Carolina Week.
Thanks for watching. Good night.